Hi, this is Laura with Potpourri of Life. This morning what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be making some Comfrey ointment for my husband. Mostly for my husband. The reason that I'm making it is he requested it because he was sitting next to me and he was reading over my shoulder some herb stuff that I was reading, and then he noticed an article sharing about Comfrey ointment, and he says, "Can you make that for me?" Because he was reading how people are using this for pain. I said, I don't see why not. So I researched it, and yeah, I'm going to be making it. And I'm going to use some essential oils and stuff like that as well. But before I make it, before you go and make it, I want you to be aware that it does come with warnings. And part of it is done from some testing. Herbal medicine doesn't go through the same intricate testing as major drugs and stuff like that. But I still think most of us who work with herbs and have been for a while, we try to sit back and say, let's be cautious and do it the way that is okay. Externally, it says it's okay, but that does not mean it will not cause liver damage or cancer or any of that. I cannot put that claim out there. First of all, I'm not a doctor, so I can't say that. I'm not a scientist. All I know is what I use and what works. Now, I do have other things that he can use for his pain, but this one seemed like something he really wanted. So, he does a lot for me, I can do a lot for him, and this is something I enjoy doing. So, out of all the herbal books I have, only one talks about comfrey, and it's this book here, Backyard Herbal Apothecary, and it is by Devin Young. And the part that she talks about, and I'm going to just quote her, okay? No discussion of comfrey would be complete without a thoughtful and frank discussion regarding its internal use. Older texts point to comfrey to address a whole variety of complaints such as sore throat, cough, stomach ulcers, heartburn, and intestinal complaints. It is known and effective soother of mucous membranes. That being said, there is some controversial evidence that suggests that internal use of comfrey may contribute to liver damage. But she goes on to say the parts used that are most apt to cause that are the roots. And you can get comfrey roots, but I chose to purchase comfrey leaves because those don't have those same constituents in it. So it makes it a lot safer. Does that mean I'm going to say to my husband, oh, you can use this every single day of the year? No, I want him to take precautions too and kind of like alternate it with some other ones. But you know what? He's an adult. He can make his own mind up. For myself, that's what I'll do. I've used other herbal options for pain, and I used it for a short time and it did its job, and then you stop. One thing you have to be very careful with strong medications and herbs and stuff is that long-time use can be a problem if you're not careful. And with herbs, sometimes people get addicted to it, and we won't go into what kinds, because it can happen with drugs. If they give you a warning, I think it's wise to take that into consideration. The recommendation, even for external use, is 5 to 10 days, maybe 4 to 6 times a year. So if this works really well for him, it's going to be hard for him not to do it that distance. He might do it for 5 days, skip a week. I don't know how he'll do it. But he's an adult, he can make that decision. But he knows the warnings too. So out of all the books, this was the only one that talked about it. You can go online and you can see it doesn't tell you what parts of the plant, not that of all the research I've done, I could not find anywhere where it talked about the root being the most toxic of it all. So now I'm going to show you how I'm going to make this. Let me put this away. And yeah, I have quite a few books, and it's like only one. I'm flipping through them. So what I did was last night, actually it's been 24 hours, which is what I wanted, I infused the comfrey root, and I infused it in with olive oil. So when I'm done with this, there's two things that I'm going to do. I am going, right now he's outside still working. I think he's almost done with the chicken coop stuff, but I'm going to have him come in and I'm going to massage the remains of this and put it into his hands, and then have him just sit there excuse me, for 10-15 minutes, and let that seep into his hands. It won't be the ointment at that point, or it won't be the salve, but it'll be the actual herbs that are in there. Excuse me. So in saying that, the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to strain it out. And I am going to change this now so you can watch the process. All right, let me see if I can get some better. Where is it? All right, so we're going to strain it out. Like I said, it was heated. It's still warm, but the unit is able to be held. And it comes out, and you can see the green from the olive oil, as well as, oops, I should probably show you. Doesn't that look delightful? Okay, I gotta let this go through the paper towel. Now I'm using a wire strainer. You can use a plastic strainer. I prefer to use a wire strainer. It's gonna make quite a bit here, I guess. I'm hoping so, at least. Then I don't have to make it all the time. Now, how long will this last being made with the oil? From my understanding, it should last quite a while. 6 months to a year, but he might actually go through it faster than that. So I'm going to take this out for a minute. And what we're going to do, I don't know if you can see, on the stove, I have a double boiler type thing. I use for my essential oil type work, candles, soaps, and all that. So I'm taking this out. I'm still going to use this paper towel. I'm going to put another one in. Squeeze it out. It's not going to hurt it. You want to get as much of that goodness in there. Oh, this is nice and warm. To be truthful, I took some out last night and it was only half done. And I put it on my elbow. And it seemed, this morning when I woke up, it seemed to be doing pretty good. It still hurts, but I'm hoping that it's a sign. If you understand where I'm coming from on that. Okay, so I'm going to take this one and put it in there. Oop, I want to know how much I've made. Right now I have a cup. And I'm actually going to start with that because the recipe talks about using a cup with the oils. So the next step that I'm going to do, since I'm going to just use a cup of it. You know what? I'm going to keep straining while I do this. Oh, it's killing me to use all these paper towels. All right. This way, if there's a little bit more, and if it's not much, I'll just put it in there. All right, so the next step, I'm going to put it on low to get this warmed up. The next thing I'm going to do with the 1 cup is I'm going to put 1/3 of a cup of beeswax into here. And this is, as you probably can guess, it's going to solidify it. Now, the benefits of Comfrey, well, this is, I'm going to turn up a little bit more, because what we're trying to do is melt the wax, which we're already doing. So the benefits are it modulates, it helps with, it modulates the inflammation, it decreases pain in muscles and general pain disorders. So with my husband and his hands and stuff, it's going to help that. It's going to help my back. It should help my tennis elbow issues that I'm having. And I don't know if it'll help with the scar tissue, but I'm going to try it because we go a long time between treatments, and long time is always relevant, of course. But I go back and the pain has already been there for possibly 4 to 6 weeks, so I can't go all the time. So this is the only reason I'm doing it, is he was really kind of like, Laura, I got to figure something out. He takes turmeric twice a day. He could do a turmeric drink. But he doesn't want to do it because he doesn't like the flavor of turmeric in his coffee or as a milk. It's called golden milk. And when my pain was so severe, I would have 2 cups of that, once in the morning, one midday. And that did wonders for my pain. But he doesn't like it, and you have to have pepper in it. He's okay with pepper. Oh goodness. Looks like we got another half cup. I could just add in a 1/6 of a cup of wax if I did that. I might make that later. So hopefully this will make a difference. All we can do is try, right? And for myself, and I want you to know that always check in with your physician to make sure that this is okay. Because of what I'm having done, I did reach out to my physician to say, will this interact with what treatment I'm on? Would I typically ask? Not usually, but because of where I'm applying it and when the injection goes in and it's a medicine going in, I think it's wise for people to question. He looked into it and he got back to me and goes, Laura, the only concern I have is that it has liver issues. And I acknowledged that, and I told him, I said, my understanding is if we consume it, which I'm not, but I also know that I can't use it more than 4 to 6 times a year for just a few days at a time. So I'm kind of hoping it helps because I don't know about any of you, but if you have scar tissue, you have to work it. Massage therapy helps. There's all kinds of things you can do to help it. My hope is one day I won't have this issue. And you want to make sure that there's always still water underneath. We still have some wax pieces still going. It's melting quickly now. As soon as it's done, and as you know, a stove keeps its heat for a while, so I'm going to just do the last few minutes. I'm going to turn this on. Hopefully it's not too bright for you guys. I'm seeing that as too much glare. Sorry about that. So we'll just do this. Alright, so what I'm going to do next, since that's all taken care of, I'm going to bring it over here onto a towel so you can see what I'm doing next. And that is going to be done. I keep forgetting it doesn't have handles like we typically would have. take it off the heat and bring it over so that it can cool. All right, so I'm going to be putting things to this. And what I'm going to be doing is there are a bunch of essential oils, and the essential oils that I'm doing, I chose for a reason. You can add whatever essential oils you want. Do the research and try to find ones that help with the particular pain or whatever it is that you're looking to have accomplished. So that these are things that will help with pain, inflammation, arthritis. Those are why I chose these. And I'm going to be putting 5 drops of these into here. So I'll go through each one as I add. Okay, so the first one is lemongrass. Lemongrass works with inflammation for arthritis, sore muscles, and the scent itself is a boost. Have we got scent of it? Smell of it? Not yet. Okay, so we're going to put 5 drops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, just in case I want to add a little bit more. Okay, the next one is called, this is helichrysum. It's HELICHRYSUM. And what it is, it's an antimicrobial, antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, and reduces the pain and swelling. Now, the reason I'm adding this in there, not only because of a reduction of the inflammation and swelling, but the antioxidants counteracts any unstable molecules, such as, the warning that is in Comfrey. So let's be careful. So that's why I chose it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops, one more drop went in there. I think we'll be okay though. The next one that I'm putting in there is vetiver. Vetiver is used to calm inflammation. To me, I don't really like the smell of it, but I've used it in other things and it works nice. It's thick, almost like castor oil. 2, 3. 4, 5. So I don't like using it, and I probably, I'll use that later if I need to for the other one. So it comes out thick, and I really don't like it. And I don't like the smell necessarily. It's very woodsy, but with the other oils, it should be fine. Yeah. Okay, so the next one is ginger. I'm adding ginger root oil. The reason for this is that it alleviates joint pain and stiffness. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whoops, 6. Sometimes these come out really quickly. The next one is juniper oil. It works against stiffness and pain. I don't have much left. So it works with arthritis, gout, rheumatism, and it numbs the pain. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The next one is rosemary. It's almost like you put an aspirin in your medicine. Okay. And maybe I won't. There we got just enough. And rosemary is also anti-inflammatory. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There was 2 in that one. Okay. And the last one is eucalyptus. It's for nerve pain. So your muscles and joints and anything arthritic it'll work with. And if you notice that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A lot of times when you get ointments, over-the-counter ointments, you smell eucalyptus. My husband doesn't necessarily like that smell. It's not so bad with this. Now, I'm also adding some vitamin E to this. The reason is it's good for softening your hands and stuff like that. He's got rough hands. I'm not measuring that. I would say about a teaspoon or less or more, whatever you want to use. So I'm going to stir this for a little bit, mix it in really well. Now, as you can see, the herb is a very dark green, not just from the olive oil. The green, when it arrived, it was very, very dark. Okay, it is starting to solidify on the sides. I don't know if you can see that. That's it, the wax starting to solidify. So I am now going to put it into, I don't know, we found this jar. It's an old candle jar, and because there's wax in it, I didn't care. I said, can you get the label off? He goes, it's painted on, dear. But he says, I like the jar. So we're going to do that jar first, and we're going to put that right in there with it. And we'll let that one go there. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to put that aside, put the cover on. And I am also going to make, I think there's enough, I got some baby jars from my daughter from when she was using the food from the grocery store for the babies. She saved a few. She didn't use them much, but when she did. So I saved one, and this is going to be perfect for this, for what's left. Yeah, it's solidifying fast, so we want to get it right in there. And this will be great if he wants to apply it at the end of the day while it's thickening up fast. And it thickens up if you know, if you're familiar with like candles and stuff. If there's a little bit left in anything, it's going to solidify quickly because there's not a lot of other liquids in there. So I want to get it all in there because it should do really well. And use a spatula that can get this so you don't end up putting this all that wax into your sink, because you don't need to do that. Plus all this work, the expense. Okay, looks like I got most of it. What do you think? I think I did pretty good. And it fits perfectly into this jar. So if I was to make this again, and my husband wanted it, I probably wouldn't do 2 jars unless he likes the idea of having one for when he goes to work. So I might reuse these. Or just use a larger, let's see, I had a larger one. Use a jar, like a 4-ounce jar or something like that. So this one here, it's still, you can see that it's some liquid still there, but it's cooling down. Now there's a little bit here, so I am going to put it on my hands to show that it goes in really nice. And he will be able to put that right into his hands and work it in nicely. Now, I'm glad that you came along to watch how I did this. And I will follow up on how this works for him. I do know last night that when I put just the oil on my elbow last night, my elbow did do better. And today I'm able to move it better. But I still need to, yeah, I'm going to take some of his and put it here. I still need to give it time to see if it works, because I have to keep doing some exercises and stuff to make it go away. But sometimes you get something and you're stuck with it. But anyways, so that's that. I woke up with less pain, but I still had it. So I think, as with a lot of things that you try for pain, it takes a while. If a physician gives you a medication for something that you're dealing with, even when I was going through Lyme disease treatment, even if I felt bad the first day or two, he says, Laura, you got to hang on. You got to do that for at least 2 to 6 weeks. And then he would go from 2 months to 4 months. And it was awful. But sometimes the reason they do that is not to make you miserable. They do that because with time things will get better. But the reminder with this is you don't want to use it all the time. But just because we did not feel 100% better, we felt there was a little bit of improvement. So was it worth making? Yes, it was. Again, I warmed up the comfrey, and it was leaves all crushed up in pieces. I warmed them up in olive oil. I had like 3/4 cup of the leaves, the dried leaves. Then I covered it with oil. And I used olive oil. I almost used the whole bottle. Let's see. I used this one. There's just a little bit left. I used all of that because it was a brand new bottle. Then we added the essential oils that I mentioned. Those were a personal choice. You may find that you're allergic to some of these. There's some things I can't use, so I wouldn't use them. You could use lavender. I prefer, after reading some stuff about lavender and stuff, I don't generally put lavender in my husband's things at all anymore. Just a personal choice. I discussed it with him because he does love lavender. I use lavender in a variety of things, like my laundry rinse. I use a vinegar that I add lavender in. Right now I'm making a lavender rose vinegar rinse for my hair as well as for the laundry. And no, you don't smell the scents. It's just, it smells good as you're using it, but you don't smell it. It's no residual. So that's not a problem. But when you're applying things to your skin, I just prefer that I not do that for him. So there is no lavender in here. Yet, if you want lavender and it works fabulously for you, then by all means use lavender. And there was a bunch of others that you could have chose, but these were the ones that I felt were the best for his symptoms. And that was the most. Now, none of these essential oils talked about scar tissue, but I'm just going to try it. I'll use it on my elbow, I'll use it on my back, and sometimes I get ankle pain into my feet, so I'll use it there. And of course, I'm going to have to be really careful how often I use it, but I want to try it on the scar tissue to see if it works. You know what? And if it doesn't work, okay, I've got the trigger point to fall back on for this next one, but after that I can come up with maybe another one. I don't give up on herbs. So this is what we have, and this is what I made. It's almost done, folks. Isn't that pretty? And I have to agree, the green jar is pretty, but I'm going to have to get a sticker and put on there, like David's ointment or something like that, because I asked him to take it off. He says, Laura, it's molded on there, so we're not taking it off. We'll just get a sticker to cover it up. And he has one that he can throw into his lunchbox or his car. I think if he refrigerates it, it won't go bad, because when it sits in your car, if your car's out in the sun, it's just going to get hot and rancid over a long period of time. Where would you store this? I would recommend storing it in your refrigerator. It'll last longer. Could he keep it in the bedroom? Absolutely. You know, like before he goes to bed, when he wakes up and all that, when he's applying it. Absolutely. More so in the winter months when the house isn't as warm as it gets in the summer. That's a personal choice. I would recommend putting it on out of the refrigerator. Plus, the coldness can be very good for inflammatory issues. I hope this was helpful. I know I kind of I've been doing a little bit of this. That's part of my Lyme disease, and please forgive me if you feel like I make that up as an excuse. I'm just going to ask that you forgive me. That's all I can do. But I think this will work from my experience with other things. I think it'll work, but like I said at the onset, this is the first time I'm making it. So after a week or two after he's using it, I'll come back and I'll let you know how it worked out. And if possible, if he uses it all up, I'll be making another batch, because he might want something else for essential oils in it. Well, for now, I hope you have a fabulous day, and may God bless you. And oh yeah, don't forget, if you like this, do a thumbs up. Comment if you wish, if you have any other ideas. No meanness. I don't do toxic stuff on this channel. And if you want to follow, please do. Share wherever. Have a great day. God bless.